Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Jolly Ranchers YouTube channel. We are a small, very small, mostly me group of people making a video game called The Kid Detective. Today, more than ever, I am the pink Jolly Ranchers, the watermelon flavor. And today we are starting a series about making a point-and-click adventure game using Fungus, which is free, and Unity, which is free. Eventually we'll cover stuff like inventory, what you can do with the inventory, different features that an inventory could fulfill, things that a point-and-click adventure game could be about, different puzzles, etc. But today we're going to integrate what we've already done with animation in Unity from our last two videos, link in the description below, and start making a point-and-click adventure game. Easy beginning tutorial to Fungus. Enjoy. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. It helps us out and it'll help other people to see. Like, comment, subscribe, push the notification bell. Bye. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open a new project. If you want to know how to download Unity and download the Fungus package into Unity, then you can follow the tutorial video in the link in the description. It is comprehensive. I used it. It still works. I'll even link two just to make sure. First thing we're going to do is we're going to open a new project. We're going to make a 2D point-and-click adventure, and we're going to name it The Big Heist. I have no idea why. Please comment suggestions about what this point-and-click adventure game that we are creating together should be about. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to Tools, Fungus. I'm going to go to Create, and I'm going to create a flowchart. I went down here to Open Flowchart window, and I like to dock it down here in order to work. Okay, so now we can see that we have a game started block. So we're going to go in here, and we're going to actually make something happen. Imagine that. I clicked on New Block. I'm going to press the plus button here. And I am going to go to narrative, say, and I'm going to make a say command. And as we will see, this is going to be a text box, and it will type the words, "Welcome to the Big Heist." And we're going to play, and we're going to see it in action. Welcome to the Big Heist. There it is. It's a game already. As you can see, we can fill in a character field here, which will have the say command being said by someone. So I'm going to create another say command in this block and introduce our first character. Hi. I'm Betty. And I'm here to help you steal it all, baby. An interesting character indeed. So, we're going to want Betty's name to appear above the text box. And how we're going to do this is we're going to go to Tools, Fungus, Create, Character. And we're going to create a character, and we're going to name her Betty. And we're going to put in the character name here. And I think Betty's name is gonna be a nice purple. Now we'll go to our say command, we'll go to character, and we're gonna select Betty. And now Betty will say this line. "Welcome to the Big Heist," says no one. "Hi, I'm Betty, and I'm here to help you steal it all, baby." So these say commands, they both look the same. And I want Welcome to the Big Heist to be sort of like the title screen for our point-and-click adventure. So I am going to go up here to Tools, Fungus, Create, Say Dialogue. When you create a say dialogue, you can basically customize the text box that you are working with. I actually just going to have this title, this Welcome to the Big Heist, be no sprite at all. There will not be a text box because I just want big words to appear over the screen. I'm going to zoom out so we can see our say dialog box, and I'm going to make it real big cover the entire screen. I'm going to make the story text super huge. How's 400? Looks good, but it could be bigger. 600. And I think I want it to be centered. Now, I'm going to call this say dialogue title text. And we are going to set this say dialogue. We can actually drag it in, or you can press this here and it'll pull up all the say dialogues that you can choose from. And I'm going to put it in there. So let's see it in action. As you can see, I made the font too big to contain all the words. For now, I will leave the result. Also, it appears to have defaulted to a white background. And as you can see, it has kept the same say dialogue from before. And that's because Fungus acts as sort of like a state machine. So when you put Fungus into certain say dialogue, it won't switch from that say dialogue unless you explicitly say to. I'm going to exit play mode because any changes you make in play mode will not save. A hot tip for you. So there are two ways we can fix this. One, we have to create a new say dialogue, just the plain say dialogue. So either we could drag in the new say dialogue that we want down here, or if you want to sort of see exactly what you're doing, you can go to set say dialogue, drag it in between these two commands, and drag in the say dialogue you want. The reason you might do this instead of dragging it just right into the say command is so that when you're going back and you're editing some things in your game, you will want to see, exactly what's going on. So you're not confused when there's a bug and the say dialogue is different when you don't want it to be different, and you're wondering why and where it gets changed. You'll notice that when I selected no sprite, it seems to have defaulted to a color, and I just want it to be transparent, so I've done it. You can go down here to color and select transparent. So why don't I quickly drag in a couple assets. I'll drag in Betty into the scene, and I'll drag in an environment that we can point and click on to start our point and click adventure, to start the big heist. And you can see how I made these assets in my other two videos, but for now I'll just drag them into the scene so we can get to making a story. So as you can see, I've dragged in the character that I want, but she is currently just behind the environment. Hot tip, go to order in layer and press 1, and she won't be behind it anymore. So now we have a real Betty. Betty has entered the scene. And if you've watched my other videos, I show you how to make an animation like this. As you can see, her mouth was moving, and now her mouth is not going to move when I click through to her actually talking. So, easy way to control any animations you make in Fungus is to go to Animation and play Animation State. So here at the beginning, I do not want Betty to be talking, so I'm going to drag in the object that I animated. In this instance, it's called Betty Anim, and I am going to select the name of the animation state that I want her to perform at any given moment. And as you can see, I've got two animation states, Betty Talks and Betty Thinks. And Betty Thinks is the one where her mouth doesn't move, so I'm going to type in Betty Thinks, and then I'm going to duplicate this command. You just press this button here, and whatever highlighted command you're on gets duplicated like this. And then if you want to delete it, you press the trash can. You plus it. So now here where I want her to talk, I'm going to say Betty Talks. And because I made the transition here in the animator from Betty Talks to Betty Thinks, she's going to talk and then go back to her mouth not moving. So I'm going to go back here to my flowchart, and I'm going to make another say command like, okay, time to steal all the goods. Or my name's not Bleedy Ray Wilson. Our character's named Bleedy Ray Wilson. So we're going to go up here and we're going to create another character named Bleedy Ray Wilson, obviously. And as you start getting more characters, you should probably put it inside another game object. So I went over here, I right-clicked, and I selected Create Empty. And I created an empty game object, and I titled it Characters, and I'm just going to drag Bleedy Ray Wilson into it. And I am going to drag Betty into it so that I know these are the characters that I'm using. You can also drag still images in here. The Fungus tutorials have a good tutorial about that, but no one does a tutorial about using animations in Fungus, so I thought I would do that. So I'm going to have Bleedy Ray Wilson say this. As you can see, her mouth moves when it's supposed to. And now Bleedy Ray Wilson's talking. And now we're going to make a generic point and click moment where we can either choose to click on the object in this pawn shop and steal stuff and add it to our inventory, or we can talk to Betty here, or we can open our inventory. We want those three options. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to go to narrative and I'm going to add a menu option. So here I'm going to say one option is steal stuff. One option will be talk to Betty. And one option will be inventory. Okay, and as you can see, all of them say error, no target block selected. And that's because menu buttons in Fungus are set up to go to a block. As you can see, we only have one block in our flowchart. And this is where it actually starts to become a flowchart. So you can either go to here, this plus button, and add a new block. I'm going to need 3, so... Or you can right-click and add block. I like that better because it places the block, right where you want it. I'm going to add a new block called Talk to Betty. I'm going to add a block called Steal Stuff, which will be our point and click moment. And then I'm going to add a block called Inventory. And now that I've added those blocks, I'm going to go to my menu options, and I am going to make it so that the Steal Stuff menu option goes to the Steal Stuff block here in Target block. I'm going to make sure the Talk to Betty block goes to Talk to Betty, and I'm going to make sure the Inventory block goes to Inventory. So let's just see what this looks like. The big heist. Hi, I'm Betty, and I'm here to steal all, baby. Okay, time to steal all the goods, and my name's not Bleedy Ray Wilson. Okay, so now we have options. So theoretically, when we click Steal Stuff, Betty would go away, and we'd be able to click on objects in this room and add it to our inventory. And then, theoretically, we could press a back button, come back to this screen, and, select our inventory and look at what we had gathered. Or we could always come here and, talk to Betty, ask what we should be stealing, and if we should get out of here before we get caught. So let's start with the point and click part of this. First of all, what we're going to want is we're going to want Betty to disappear. So we're going to set Betty. I'm going to drag in Betty here. What I did was I went to scripting, set active to get this command. And then I drag in the game object from the hierarchy over here that I want to disappear when I click this button. And then I can either set that object to true or false. False will make it disappear. True will make it appear. So that's the first thing we're going to want to do when we point and click. And then in order to click on things, I'm going to temporarily set Betty to invisible so I can look at our environment better. Well, it seems like there's some sort of cash register-like thing over here. So what I am going to do is I'm going to go to Tools, Fungus, Create, Clickable Sprite. And I am going to name this one Cash Register. And right now, its sprite, as we can see, is set to a giant mushroom by default. We don't want that. We want it to be transparent. So I'm just going to select none, and then I'm going to go to color, and I'm going to lower the alpha to 0, which will make this image totally transparent. As you can see, now we just have a transparent big green box, which covers most of the screen. And the way you edit this is you go down to the box collider 2D, and you can edit the edges to be just where you'd like them to be. This cash register isn't as much of a box as it is some sort of other polygon shape. And so if the object that you're clicking on isn't a box, you can actually remove the box collider 2D, go to add component, and if you type in polygon collider 2D, this gives you a little bit more options about what the shape of the thing is you are going to be clicking on. And you might say, well, the thing I want to click on isn't a pentagon, but as you can see, if you click here anywhere on these green lines, you can create another point. For our purposes, for the very excellent game, The Big Heist, this is more than good enough for me. This should work as long as click is enabled on the clickable 2D script. And then, in order to make it interact with Fungus, I'm going to add a block, and I'm going to call it cash register clicked. So this block in Fungus will run as soon as the cash register is clicked. And there's a box here in the block called execute on event. As you can see, this block has game started as its execute on event. And that means when you start the game, it will execute this block and all the things within it. So in this case, I am going to want this block to execute an object clicked reaction. And I am going to need to drag in the clickable object I want it to react to. And when I click this object, I'm going to want a say command from myself, Bleedy Ray Wilson. And I'm going to say, this cash register is loaded with cash. Betty, we're rich. Let's just go into play mode and see what happens, because there's going to be some problems evident already when we go into play mode and we see what we can do. From the very beginning, we have the big heist over the screen. And Betty talks, and oh, I can click the cash register at any time. And as you can see, when there's menu options open and a say dialogue running, you can't progress the say dialogue. I'm clicking, clicking, clicking. So I only want this clickable object to be able to run when I click the steal stuff menu option. So in order to do that from the very beginning, I'm just going to set the cash register clickable object to false, and I'm going to copy and paste this command into this block so that when we set Betty to false, we set cash register to true, so we can start clicking on things in this room. And really, once you start getting more clickable items in a room, you want to go over here and create a game object and call it clickable objects pawn shop. And you can drag in your clickable objects that are in the pawn shop into here. And so instead of setting just the cash register to true, you can set all of the clickable objects in the pawn shop to true. So you don't have to have like 9 or 10 set active commands in every block. It keeps it a little more easy to read as your game becomes bigger, as you get more rooms that you want to click objects in and steal stuff from in the big heist. Okay, this is where we're going to stop for today, but next time we will get into the very beginnings of making an inventory system and I promise we'll continue to do more, and we'll field questions and comments and try to get it all to work. As you can see, this is more of like a visual novel style point and click adventure game, but you could have a character moving around on screen when you click a clickable object. So if you really, really want to see that, I could work up a script to do that, or see if I can do it through Fungus. Okay, that is all for today. I hope you enjoyed The Big Heist, the point-and-click adventure game that has just started right now on the Jolly Creators channel. Please, if you have any ideas, once again, comment them below about what more you want to see or what direction you want to see the video game The Big Heist take. Please press the subscribe button and the like button, and we love you. Bye. Bampo. Bampo, come say bye.
Yeah.
Goodbye, everybody. Love you.